Welcome to Davinci Resolve Tips and Tricks. In this introductory episode, I'm going to be covering how to export timelines from Premiere Pro, how to import them into Davinci Resolve, some mistakes and errors you may encounter, and also I'm going to be covering the proxy to RAW or original files workflow. So I'm going to use this project that we just finished for Google UK, and this is the final edit. The editor has worked, in this case, straight with the original raw footage, the 4K MXF files, 10-bit 422, coming from FX6 Sony cameras, all of them shooting S-Log3. And this, as you can see, there's a bunch of graphics, subtitles, adjustment layers with effects. So in order to move all this to DaVinci, we can move it as it is, but it's gonna give us a lot of errors of things that you won't find, and it's really irrelevant for us. We just need the clean footage, which is just all neatly back to back in one video track. So what I'm gonna do before I mess around with any of this, I'm gonna leave this as is, and I'm gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna call this for grading. So I'm gonna open that, probably close this one so I don't confuse them because they're exactly the same. And I'm gonna clean everything I don't need. I already watched it through, so I know what I don't need, which is all the graphics. As I said, it's very neatly in just one video track. And even sound effects and music, I mean, that's not, I would only leave the audio coming from the cameras, just to have something as a reference. And then I'm gonna proceed cleaning all the unused tracks. You can see if I play back this, the first clip, there's a transform effect, just as scale up. We'll see how all that translates into DaVinci. Also, I want you to pay attention, there's 3 markers that the editor left here. I don't know exactly why, but we're gonna see how they translate into DaVinci. So you can come to File, Export, Final Cut Pro XML, and I already created within the project files folder and XML folder. I'm gonna save it. It's gonna give us a report of errors that we can see. Okay, so we can see here the translation report. As you see, there's a lot. Let's for the moment disregard that. I know already this is an error, but I want to do it so you can actually see what the error is so you don't do it yourself. Let's open Davinci Resolve. So I usually use folders divided by client. So here you have several tabs. Media for ingesting, cutting is a really fast way of cutting. Editing is a more traditional one as you're used to in Premiere. Then Fusion is for visual effects. Color, where we're gonna spend most of our time in. Light for sound, and the deliver page for exporting. So in this case we need to conform this edit, so we're gonna be working a little bit on the edit page. If you come to File, Import, we just want to import the timeline, not the media from XML, just import the timeline, and this will bring the media as well. You'll see. Select the XML that we exported, open. It's gonna give you these, says the source file is the same name as the sequence. If the XML would have more like ported with a multi-sequence, then you will have different timelines, but we only have one. We can change the name of the timeline here if you wanted to. I'm gonna keep it the same, and a few other effects like the sizing, just in case we want to upscale or downscale the resolution. And we shot and work in 4K, so that's fine. 25p, pretty much just go and press OK. So if you click here and you have several timelines, you see them in tabs. So you see that it's just imported 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips and 2 audio clips. And I come here on the timeline. I'm not gonna use shortcuts so you can see what I'm doing. And you can see there's just a few clips. Okay, I know what the problem is. So let's delete all this. We go back to Premiere and I'll show you what the problem is. The problem is that, as you can see by MC1, MC3, and there should be somewhere MC2 and MC4. And these are the different cameras. So we shot with 4 cameras. The editor created an MC, which is a multicam pre-comp, to be able to just edit quicker, seeing all the 4 cameras at once. What we need to do, I wanted to show you the error so you learn from it, which I have committed before, and find the solution. You can select all the video at once, come to multi-camera and flatten. And now every single clip is a unique clip rather than being logged to a multi-sequence. With audio, doesn't happen the same, unfortunately. In this case, if I were to do flatten, it really doesn't like it. But nevertheless, as I said, I rarely, if ever, import audio. If I have it, I will, but in this case it's not working out because of the multicam. So I'm just going to export it as it is, just a video. So I'm going to do a new export, Final Cut Pro XML. I'm going to just name it the same because I know the error. This time it's going to give us more errors. I do know what the errors are, and I'm going to show you. So this is the new translate error. As you can see, now there's no one error per every single clip. The push transition is not translating, so that will disappear. And there's one clip with warp stabilization, and that one won't translate either. If you're the editor who is also great in Davinci, then I would suggest do all your stabilization at the very end. Either in Davinci, which for me is stabilized much better, it warps way less. But if you want to do it whilst you edit and then apply on Davinci, or know which clip it is, it will tell you here. So you can look it up and either apply it on Davinci or just pinpoint at it, and knowing that when you send it back to Premiere, you will have to do it afterwards. Same with this push one. If it's cross dissolve, like crossfade, all that, it translates well. Specific ones, it won't. So push won't translate. For everything else, apparently it's fine. So let's open it up. Probably it will, the first time you open it, it will start from the media page. I recommend you right click here and add the location of the hard drive or hard drives you're going to be working from. So I have here all my hard drives. Anyway, we're going to come to the edit tab. As I'm explaining things, I'm going to go through the options, but I'm just going to crack on with the practical example. So I'm going to import the timeline, choose the XML, import it, press OK pretty much. It's going to tell me that 45 clips were not found. Okay, and this is my personal problem. It's not finding absolutely any single file because I moved this locally. So from Premiere Pro, the XML says that this such and such file belongs in this folder. And actually, let me just do it in the server so you can see that you shouldn't get this problem if you work off the server. So here I'm on server, you can see Davinci. I'm gonna press File, Import, Timeline, and I'm gonna get this same timeline, open, OK. Yeah, perfect, no errors. All the footage is here. Everything's working well. Now locally, there's a really quick way of doing it. So in this case, yeah, it says the media's offline, and in Premiere usually have the files here, but it says offline. And sometimes it happens as well in Davinci works the same way, but because of this XML works in a different way. Maybe this won't make sense to you now, but this option is conformed logged enable, means that those clips, I selected them all, so they're logged to the conform information that the XML brought in. So basically it will say that the time code, the type of file, everything is logged. So you just need to replace this for the same one. If this is a proxy file, then what we could do is unlock it, and then rather than bringing in the proxies, bringing the raw files with the same name, and they will be accepted. So it's so easy. In this case, the editor worked with the raw files, and then I'm just going to import the raw files into Davinci. I'm going to try to keep it tidy and create a footage folder. Whilst I'm at it, I'm going to do a sequence folder, just in case we end up creating more sequences. I'm going to bring all the cameras into here, and very quickly it's all here. So if we scrub through, we can see that it's all here. I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm scrubbing through pretty quickly 4K files. Let it load. There you go, in real time. So this is the main difference with Premiere. I don't have to edit it on an eighth or a quarter to be able to more or less play back in real time without drop frames. Here it will tell you if there's any drop frames, and this is gonna go red. I'm just gonna say, oh, maybe this is slowing down. It's gonna play back at 20 frames. Now, real 25, full 4K. Then it's dropping there because I'm getting some texts on WhatsApp behind this. But well, there you go. If you don't want interruptions, just disconnect everything. As I said before, some transform effects are being translated. Let me actually play back so you can see. So this is scale up, this is zoom in, whatever you want to call it, and here we are. So this is what the editor did in Premiere, and it's translating just fine, same as here. Some other ones will have a position here as well. It's zoom and position. This works pretty much as Premiere. It's got a lot of more options, and what's even better is this. Okay, this is more like After Effects. We have lines, and you can do, you know, is in, is out, and all the options. You know, zoom, everything you see here, and if you have any effect as well, you know, of opacity, quickly, graphically, and we can do a is in, is out. So this is the graphic editor, and this is at a glance the keyframe, and you can move it from here as well, and it tells you what is being affected. Zoom X, Y, position X and Y, and from here you can also navigate the keyframes, and when it's red it means that there's a keyframe. If I'm here, it's white, there's no keyframe, but when it lands on a keyframe, boom, there it is. Pretty cool, isn't it? Anyway, and the other thing I should note, I think there's a here. So as we said, the push transitions, which are specific, didn't translate, but the cross resolve translate easily, as you can see. Again, very smooth. There's no rendering, no nothing. Very smooth. The other thing is, yes, all the markers that you can do. I like how they appear here, depending on the information that you put on them. You know, there's more or less information, keywords, notes, blah blah blah, etc. I don't know why they were on Premiere. I'm gonna delete them all, but yeah, this is good. Like, if the editor is not the same as the colorist, which is usually the case, you can leave notes, as in, you know, make this black and white, or add a 8mm effect, just add grain, or this needs denoiser, etc. It's just a way of communicating, you know, editor, colorist. Okay, so here we are back in Premiere Pro. I put this mock-up sequence of 3 clips together. These are proxies. What I want to show you is the proxy workflow, which is pretty simple. So I just converted 3 random clips into proxy files from the shoot that I was showing you before. And yeah, so we're gonna export an XML sequence. Already did it here, proxy example, replace it. And this time, because it's a very clean sequence, there's no translation errors. Jumping back into our Davinci project here in the sequence folder, I'm gonna import timeline, proxy example. I'm gonna open, because we're gonna be working in 4K. We could do this now. So as you can see here, this timeline is 4K, and these are the proxy files that the project imported. So for the sake of the tutorial, again, I'm gonna create a proxy example, and within the proxy example, I'm gonna create another bin, proxies, and you'll see why later on. I'm gonna move these files. It is just to keep everything tidy. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that the project imported without any issues. Everything's even easier than before. So now what you want to do is online these proxies to the raw files, and this is very easy to do. there's several ways. I'm gonna probably show you the quickest for you, which is select all the clips. You can Command A if you have a very large sequence. Right click and we need to untick conform lock enable, so we can specify another path where the raw files are and they can be linked. In this case, we're opening them for replacing. Then it's as simple as coming to the sequence, right click, timeline, and there's two ways of doing it. One is reconforming from bins. So if you already have those originals imported, then we can do it that way and select a folder here, or we can do it from the hard drive. Look them up on your hard drives. I already have it here ready. It's in my desktop for the example sake. An example folder. Click here, and again it changed from MOV to MXF. Again, for the sake of my visuals, I'm gonna conform locked enable so I don't see that red flag. And now we're fully editing 4K 25 and the actual video codec, which is the raw. Now there's a way in Davinci which is much faster than any other software that I know, which is with a click of a button just go from raw files to proxies, and literally with a click of a button. If you come here to playback, this proxy handling now is telling us that the way we prefer to work is with camera originals. But what if our system can't cope with the demanding file sizes and effects or whatever? So we click of a button, we go boom, and now it's changed. This icon is showing you that now we're working with the proxy. So everything should be super smooth as butter to edit and to cut. And once you're ready to grade or create visual effects, you can easily come to playback and say, now I want the original, the full rest, super fast, super quick. Actually, I'll show you a bonus bit. I wish this option I'm going to show you was in the edit tab, but the cut page is even more visual. You have this icon here. When you're working on camera originals, it's white, and when you are working on proxies, it's purple, and it shows you the icon. So you visually here know what resolution you're working on. Yeah, that's an extra tip, and to show how good Davinci deals with proxies. When you install Davinci Resolve, it comes with this BlackMagic Proxy generator, and this is where the magic happens. So you bring your originals, and I have them, I'll show you here, I have them like loose inside this example folder. And when you drag and drop them here and start the conversion, it will create the proxy folder. And this way it knows, same file names. So Davinci now links this file to a proxy. So it knows exactly that it's linked to a proxy file. And we can, as I said before, with a click of a button, whoop, now I'm working much faster with a proxy file. And yeah, let's crack on. I'm all sorted, so everything's here. So I'm probably gonna gain some real estate and get a bigger panel. Audio, I'm not using it, so I just delete empty because I like neat and tidy timelines. So yeah, pretty much this, I usually scrub through, make sure there's no errors. All these gaps, these are graphics, as I said, I watched the final edit before. Yeah, and when you're happy with it, then we can jump on the color tab. Cool, and that's pretty much it for half a round trip from Premiere Pro to Davinci Resolve for grading. In the next few episodes, we're gonna see a bit of the color management and how different cameras record in different gamuts and formats, and how to standardize everything, and then how to convert these spaces into usable Rec. 709. And from then on, we're gonna touch on a node tree structure, how the different nodes affect the clips, a basic grade, and a few techniques. And then I'm planning to give you proper tips and tricks on grading effects and how to utilize some hidden special tools. Until next time.